Welcome to U.S. News Source Channel. Ukrainian armed forces turn to different tactics. Russian soldiers are not given a chance. Moment the Ukrainian army struggles, it develops new tactics and defeats the Russian troops. Ukrainian troops again developed a tactic and put it into practice in different ways. This tactic is aimed at directing missile attacks. Moreover, special devices and balloons are used for this. Thanks to these special devices used, the movements of armored vehicles, airplanes and unmanned aerial vehicles can be simulated. In this way, many attacks are prevented. It is known that the Ukrainian armed forces use extraordinary tactics when necessary. This includes special reflector devices. With these corner reflector balloon devices, the presence of equipment in the air and on land can be simulated. Moreover, thanks to these devices, the movements of military equipment can be imitated. This also makes it difficult to respond. These devices are especially placed at critical points and used effectively. Thanks to such methods, it also becomes more difficult for Russian troops to carry out attacks and reconnaissance. In fact, the false determination of these targets causes the ammunition used by Russia in the attacks to be wasted. If Moscow, which has serious military resource problems, makes such futile moves, the losses become even more irrecoverable. Moreover, many attacks of Russia are still in vain. Ukrainian air defense forces achieved 100% success in one area this time. As a result of the airstrike launched against the territory of Ukraine, all the means of attack were destroyed. Russian army attempted to attack the Nikopol and Marinets regions on the Dnipropetrovsk front at night. It was also reported that Uragan self-propelled multiple launch rocket systems and heavy artillery were used in this attack. However, in the attack carried out by Russian soldiers using Iranian-made Shahed-136 kamikaze unmanned aerial vehicles, 8 of 8 aircraft were shot down by Ukrainian air defense units. This completely nullified Moscow's offensive effort. In addition, it was reported that the Ukrainian armed forces neutralized 17 air targets, including 14 Iranian-made Shahed-136, 1 Orlan and 2 different unmanned aerial vehicles, with accurate moves during the day. It seemed that Russia had recently taken a chance on land again and reduced its airstrikes. After this, Moscow, which suffered serious losses on land, started to try its luck in the air again. However, it is known that many resources are limited. Fact that the Ukrainian army has more and more military support every day also exhausts Russia. Moreover, the severity of the operations on many fronts in the east is increasing day by day. Especially in Luhansk, the intensity of the conflict is increasing as both countries bring additional reinforcements. An official from the region made a statement regarding the region, explaining that retaking this region has a cost and that both countries have deployed additional troops and equipment to the region. However, the soldiers sent by Russia as additional reinforcements to the front are the newly mobilized soldiers. It is stated that these soldiers do not even know how to use weapons and military equipment. Moreover, it was announced that these Russian soldiers, who were sent for support, actually caused more casualties. Every move of these untrained soldiers can lead to great defeats. Planes of the Ukrainian Air Force, on the other hand, carried out more than 20 attacks on the points where the military equipment of the Russian forces was concentrated. On the other hand, Ukrainian rocket and artillery units struck an artillery cluster of Russian troops, a command center, an ammunition storage point and 3 important points where Russian forces were concentrated. These critical targets, hit with accuracy, took serious damage. At the same time, around 540 Russian soldiers were neutralized during the day. Russia's losses in the war reached serious proportions. This time, 6 tanks of Russian soldiers, 8 artillery systems, 4 combat vehicles and more than 20 tankers were destroyed by Ukrainian troops during the day. Moscow's offensive and defensive power is getting lower every day. Moscow, whose ground operation power has weakened, is having great difficulty in achieving success in air operations. Still, he continues to try his luck both in the air and at sea. However, the losses in these areas also increase the tension. Moreover, intense conflicts, especially on some fronts, cause more difficulties for Russian soldiers. Intensity of the operations on the Bakhmut front has increased in recent days. At night, Russian military points were bombarded by the Ukrainian army. It was reported that multiple launch rocket systems and artillery were used for this bombardment. It was announced that 60 explosions occurred from these military points. These explosions are thought to have come from Russian military equipment and ammunition. Ukrainian army has begun to control almost all of this region. This situation causes the Russian troops to have much more difficulty. Moreover, Moscow suffers its greatest losses in this region. However, the fact that there is still a domination effort in the region is also seen as a strategic mistake of the Russian commanders or officials. Because although operations have been carried out in this region for months, the desired goal is not achieved. On the contrary, it has to be driven away from this target with greater losses with each passing day. Morale of the Russian soldiers in the region, whose defense power is decreasing gradually, is also decreasing. This makes it impossible to achieve success on the front. Moreover, the persistence in this region despite the lack of success for months shows that the strategic mistakes are still not over on the Russian side and that the region is also of critical importance. However, such moves reveal Russia's military inadequacies with each passing day. Military resources of Moscow, which started the war with a much larger military resource, are no longer sufficient. Moreover, it is beginning to be vulnerable both on the territory of Ukraine and even in its own territory. American General Ben Hodges made important statements about the war. General Hodges stated that it is known that 2 drones were attacked at a distance from the Ukrainian border and that 2 Russian military airfields were damaged. As is known, Kyiv has not yet claimed responsibility for these attacks. However, Hodges noted that such moves could be escalated by Ukraine in the very near future. Moreover, he announced that the Russian Navy's Black Sea Fleet on the Crimea is likely to carry out moves towards the Russian naval base. General Hodges said he wouldn't be surprised if Ukraine launched an attack on the Russian Navy base if it was able to acquire long-range weapons as well. At the same time, in the latest statements made by the United States, it was stated that Kyiv will not be prevented from having long-range weapons. If these long-range weapons are supplied to the territory of Ukraine, the Ukrainian armed forces will have a serious advantage on many fronts. Moreover, if these weapons are deployed in many border regions, the probability of a move towards Russian territory may increase much more. In fact, countries were not in favor of handing over long-range weapons just because of this situation. It was thought that this situation would increase the violence of the war even more. However, especially in recent weeks, the violence of war and operations has increased tremendously. Moreover, Moscow's continuous large-scale missile attacks on infrastructures increased the tension even more. These missile attacks also increase the military needs on the Ukrainian side. As countries send air defense systems one after another, the Russian military equipment destroyed on the fronts and the blocked attacks increase. However, as long as Russia does not stop, it is of great importance that the aid to Kyiv does not stop. Ukrainian army can successfully use all kinds of military equipment and ammunition supplied to the country since the beginning of the war. These units, which can make very accurate moves, cause the Russian soldiers to have much more difficulty on the fronts. Continuation of this situation will continue to turn the war in favor of Ukraine. Any move made by countries will now be of critical importance in the course of the war. Every move to be made in the future must be carried out in line with strategic goals. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.